Welcome to the channel.
Welcome to the channel, guys. Today we're going to be talking about a 4.7 liters oil pan and what it took to get it out, and we're going to go ahead. How would you rate the experience of 1 to 10 difficulty?
10.
Okay, he's calling it a 10. By the way, guys, y'all have seen him before. This is Ray. He's on the channel today because this is his truck we're working on, so we're going to keep on keeping you posted about everything we got going on. So let's go back to the oil pan. What's the first thing you want to say about it?
The oil pan was terrible. It was oil everywhere. Clay. They must have lived on a clay road.
Yeah, we literally had oil just dripping out of this thing, so
Yes.
like it had to come off. Now, when we got to it, the first thing that you'll notice is that it has a, well, hold on, can you see that oil tube right there?
Yes.
So the parts we're talking about are the oil tube, the windage tray, which also is the gasket that goes into it. We're going to tell you how to take this thing off in just a second, but first we're going to tell you, after you get it off, how to clean it. How did you clean it?
This is the best cleaner I've found in all the years I've been working on cars.
Engine degreaser by CRC. The stuff is ridiculously
It's heavy duty.
and it's only about what, $5?
$5. Can be.
You can get the crap anywhere, guys. Just that's what you want to use.
Yes. It's cleans off the grease, a little brush, and it cleans inside and out.
You see how clean the inside of that is?
Sludge, whatever, it takes it off.
And then you use a little WD-40 to treat the inside, don't you?
Yes.
See the WD? Go ahead. Why do you use the WD for?
WD, you don't want any nicks you have on the surface where the gasket goes, or on the outside. You just rub it down and it keeps it from rusting.
Okay, cool. So anyway, guys, basically you're going to want to clean this thing at that level. Let's talk about the gasket sealant that was on it. How'd you get it off?
You had to take a screwdriver with a large blade, get up under it, and twist it.
So the windage tray is laying on top of this, but because it's bolted to the engine, the oil pan's just not going to fall off if someone has put some black.
Correct.
They put black RTV on the bottom of this on sometimes.
Yes.
And when you do that, then this thing is basically stuck to the engine block, and the only way to get it off is, like he's saying, put a flathead between this flat piece and the windage tray or the oil cell gasket and start separating it all the way across.
Right.
Right?
Clean the remaining gasket off the surface of the pan
Okay.
using a putty scraper.
But be careful not to really jack it up, because you're going to have leaks if you
do not want to gouge the surface. You want it nice and smooth. Clean off all the gasket material that was remaining.
Okay, cool. All right, so let's get into that windage tray. Where's that sucker at?
This is the gasket windage tray assembly.
See, it's all one piece.
All one piece. It has gasket on both sides.
And how much is that sucker?
Depending on where you get it, it's roughly $60. No matter where you go, it's $60.
Yeah, even on eBay, you got like a $10 shipping charge for the $50 one, so it comes out to $60.
If your windage tray is good, you can just replace the gasket. But for $60, just do it.
Yeah, because this is a lot of work to get back to, so
Yes.
don't come back and visit.
Right.
Or if you've ever been on a boat before, they're called holidays.
Yes.
It means you're coming back to visit. All right, so that's how you do the windage tray, and when we go to put it back on, are you going to put any RTV on the bottom?
No.
He says no. We're going to
It's
go.
a rubber seal. My trick is leave it in the sun. It gets nice and soft, and it will stick great.
Right. Or if you don't, you got a heat gun, you can just kind of warm it up just a little bit, just so it's nice and pliable, so when it goes on, she really gets a good seal. All right, so should I tell them how to get under this thing and get it out?
Do you want to go over the...
Oh yeah, the oil tube. Yeah, let's go ahead and get that, because the windage tray is actually stuck in place by the oil tube. How y'all like my truck? That's sexy, ain't it?
This attaches to the bottom of the windage tray.
See it, guys? It's like that. So there's no, if you see that, there's no pulling that gasket down with the oil pan. The oil pan's got to come out separate from that because it's attached like that.
You cannot replace the oil pump.
Now, if somebody's got an oil flickering light, they can clean that pickup tube. This is a good time to talk about that, isn't it?
Yes.
Let's take a closer look at that. See the tube right here. Don't y'all love the Car Man's channel? Y'all get all the cool shit. All right, here we go. Now that right there's got a little hollow point in it, and basically this whole thing is a screen underneath this metal plate, and you want to clean this out. Now what he does is pretty smart. He takes the brake parts cleaner, CRC, which is some effective crap. You just put it in here and let it kind of sit like this, where it's kind of sitting in there and eating it away, and then he dumps it back out the other end. So if you have to do that, and by the way, you could just remove the pickup tube without taking the front of the engine apart. If you just remove the oil pan, the engine pickup tube is accessible, and you can take it out without doing the front of the engine. Just in case one of you guys have got low oil pressure and you're trying to figure it out.
But definitely clean under.
Yeah, that's
just
the most important
because this is
part.
Clean does not mean it's clean.
Right, most of the surface is doing the breathing
over
is over here.
50%. 3/4 is under. So you got to do it.
And guys, if you're going that far, wouldn't you just tell them to get a new one if they're having a...
If it's really bad and the screen is ever other than perfect,
yeah,
get a new tube.
And by the way, we're actually doing the front of this car as well, but we had two different sets. Both came with an oil pickup tube seal, and you never want to take these things out and use the old one because that can ruin your engine.
Right.
So we got a new one coming on that. All right, so underneath the car... Well, what was more important? I guess the exhaust was the biggest deal, wasn't it?
Biggest part was getting the exhaust back far enough to get the oil pan out. A little finagling, not bad.
Not bad, but I'm going to give you some pointers real quick. I'm going to crawl under there and show them real quick.
Right.
What do you think?
Sounds like a winner.
Sounds like a winner. All right, guys, we are underneath the belly of the beast. First thing I want to take a look at up here, if you can actually see it. Look how pretty those pistons are. But anyway, you see the crank sitting there at the bottom. Pay attention to the how clean it is on the oil pan. That's where we got it cleaned out at. Take a look over there at the brake lines. They recommend that you disconnect those. I did not have a problem with them, but of course they are already disconnected. Now, one thing they did say to disconnect that I didn't do was the starter, and it absolutely was no problem. There's a support bracket that goes underneath the transmission here. You'll see it, it's aluminum, probably has 6 or 8 bolts in it. You just take that off and you pretty much got access. Now, as far as the exhaust goes, I don't know if you can really tell, but look where these two are at right here. I'm pointing to it. Now pay attention, there's a hook back there. That hook slides on a little garment, and it's got to come forward to drop the exhaust. In case you're wondering why in the world it isn't. And let's see, there's 1, 2, 3, 4. It looks like 4 oxygen sensor clips. They're pretty simple. Pull out the red tab, press, and disc release. Now, one quick tip on this that may help you drop it faster. We did not take the cross member down, but you can take the cross member out and make the exhaust more flexible. And of course, the reason is, if you notice, there is no exhaust because we are putting a seriously badass exhaust on this. Anyway, guys. Oh.